Let me start with a brutal truth. The moment you tell a woman everything about yourself, you've already lost part of her respect. Harsh, maybe, but real. Men today are being told that honesty is everything, that you should open up, share all your fears, your insecurities, your struggles, and while that might sound noble, in reality, it often backfires. A man who reveals too much stops being mysterious, stops being attractive, and eventually stops being respected. See, women are not drawn to men they fully understand. They're drawn to men they can't quite figure out, men who keep a certain level of mystery, men who don't hand over their entire life story like a cheap brochure. The hard pill to swallow is this. What feels like honesty to you often feels like weakness to her. And once she labels you as weak in her mind, you'll never look the same in her eyes again. This is why there are certain secrets, certain truths you should never tell a woman. Not because you're being fake, not because you're hiding, but because a man must guard his image, his authority, and his emotional leverage. Reveal the wrong things and she'll question your confidence. Share too much and she'll test you, doubt you, or worse. She'll lose attraction completely. In this video, I'm going to expose the top secrets men should never tell women. These are the mistakes that quietly destroy respect, attraction, and even relationships. If you've ever felt like a woman started treating you differently after you opened up, this will explain exactly why. Gentlemen, pay close attention, because once you give away these secrets, there's no going back. 1. Never tell her how many women you've slept with. This is one of the most dangerous questions a man can ever answer. At some point, a woman might ask you directly, "So, how many women have you been with?" And right there, you face a trap, because no matter what number you give, it will never work in your favor. If the number is too low, she may see you as inexperienced, boring, or lacking options. If the number is too high, she may see you as untrustworthy, reckless, or a player who can't be taken seriously. Either way, the answer changes how she sees you, and almost never in a good way. Men need to understand something powerful here. Mystery is more attractive than details. The more you tell her, the more she judges you. But the less you reveal, the more she's forced to wonder about you. And that mystery keeps her interest alive. The truth is, women don't really want the full truth here. What they want is to feel like they got the right man. The second you hand her the numbers, you give her ammunition to compare, criticize, or even use against you in the future. And in relationships, what you don't say is often more powerful than what you do say. Imagine a man who tells his girlfriend he's only slept with 2 women in his life. At first, she smiles, but later on, she begins to quietly question his value. Why only 2? Didn't other women want him? Maybe he's not as attractive as I thought. Now imagine the same man tells her he's been with 15 women. Suddenly, she becomes suspicious. How many of them were serious? Is he just using me? Will I be the next number? Either way, her mind shifts, and not in his favor. The smartest move is to keep it vague. Smile, change the subject, or give a playful answer that doesn't reveal anything concrete, because once she knows your number, she'll never see you the same way again. 2. Never admit you've cried over a woman. Every man has been hurt before. Every man has faced heartbreak, disappointment, or betrayal. But here's the harsh truth. No woman wants to imagine the man she looks up to breaking down in tears because of another woman. Why? Because the moment she pictures you crying over someone, she unconsciously puts you in a weaker category. Now, don't misunderstand this. I'm not saying men should never feel pain or sadness, but telling a woman about those tears is a mistake. When you admit that you cried over an ex, or that you once begged someone not to leave, you strip yourself of the strength and authority she wants to see in you. Women are wired to look for stability, certainty, and control in a man. When you hand her a story of you falling apart emotionally over another woman, she loses part of that image. The dangerous part is this. Once you confess it, you can't take it back. Even if she says, "It's okay, I understand," the respect in her mind has already shifted. She will compare the powerful man she sees in front of her with the broken man you just described, and that gap will eat away at her attraction. Picture this. A man opens up to his new girlfriend about his past heartbreak. He tells her, "Yeah, my ex broke me so badly I cried for weeks. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. I was destroyed. At that moment, she might hug him, kiss him, and tell him she feels sorry for him. But later, when he makes a mistake or disappoints her, that memory creeps back. She remembers the version of him that was weak and powerless. Over time, she starts testing him more, pushing boundaries and doubting his strength. Why? Because he already told her he could be broken by another woman. Instead of confessing those moments, keep them as part of your personal growth. Learn from them, but don't hand them over. A man's emotional battles should build him up, not weaken the way a woman sees him. Remember this: women respect men who carry scars silently, not men who put their wounds on display. 3. Never reveal your deepest insecurities. Every man has insecurities. Maybe it's about your looks, your height, your money, or even your abilities. That's normal. It's part of being human. But here's where most men destroy themselves. They hand those insecurities over to women, expecting sympathy and comfort. The problem is, once you reveal your deepest weakness, it becomes almost impossible for her to see you the same way again. Women are naturally wired to test men. They don't do it out of cruelty, but out of instinct. They want to know if you're strong enough to handle life, pressure, and responsibility. And when you confess your deepest fears, doubts, or self-hatred, you show her the exact cracks in your armor. She may smile, nod, and even tell you it's okay, but deep inside, she registers it as a weakness. And here's the brutal truth: weakness doesn't attract women, it repels them. A woman may say she wants a man who opens up and shares everything, but in reality, she respects the man who can control himself, the man who doesn't need validation from her to feel worthy. Think about it. When you reveal your deepest insecurities, you're basically saying, here's the part of me I'm most ashamed of. Now, once she knows it, she can't unsee it. In her eyes, you stop being the solid, confident man she looked up to. Instead, you become fragile, someone who needs to be handled with care. That shift alone kills attraction over time. You might think being fully vulnerable makes her love you more, but the truth is, it often makes her lose respect, even if she won't admit it out loud. Men are respected for their strength, their discipline, and their ability to stand firm under pressure. If you want her admiration, don't feed her your deepest insecurities. Work on them privately. Build yourself up until those insecurities no longer control you. At the end of the day, she doesn't need to know your darkest fears. What she truly needs is a man who faces them silently and still stands tall. 4. Never talk about your financial struggles in detail. One of the biggest mistakes men make is treating a woman like their financial therapist. They sit down and pour out every detail. I'm broke. My debts are killing me. I don't know how I'm going to survive. Gentlemen, let me be blunt. This is the fastest way to kill her respect. A woman may care for you, she may love you, but she is wired to look for stability in a man. When you open up about every financial weakness, you don't look strong or honest, you look unreliable. And no woman wants to attach herself to a man who looks like he can't even take care of himself. Now here's where I need to criticize men. Too many of you confuse honesty with dumping your problems. Yes, every man faces tough times, but running to a woman with your financial pain is not strength, it's weakness. And then you wonder why she pulls away, why she no longer looks at you the same. You handed her the image of a man who is drowning. Wake up, men. It's not her job to carry your burdens, it's your job to fix them. A woman can support you, yes. She can encourage you, yes. But when you expose every detail of your financial struggles, you force her to see you as a liability, not an asset. You become another problem she has to worry about instead of the leader she can lean on. This doesn't mean you should fake success or pretend to be rich. It means you should handle your struggles like a man, with action, discipline, and solutions. Talk less, work more, show her progress, not excuses, because respect doesn't come from words, it comes from how you move. At the end of the day, she doesn't need to know every detail of your financial situation. What she needs is the confidence that you can face challenges without collapsing. Be the man who keeps his focus, not the man who constantly cries about his struggles. Gentlemen, stop oversharing. Handle your business and let your results speak for you. 5. Never confess you feel powerless at work or in life. One of the worst things a man can ever admit to a woman is that he feels powerless. Telling her, my boss controls everything, I have no say in my life, I can't change anything is not honesty. It's weakness. The second those words leave your mouth, she starts questioning if you're the man she believed you were. Listen carefully. Women are not attracted to victims. They may feel sympathy, but sympathy is not respect, and sympathy is not attraction. When you position yourself as powerless, you're telling her you're not in control of your own life. And if you're not in control of yourself, how can you ever lead her? Here's the tough truth men need to hear. Too many of you are comfortable complaining. You sit around whining about your job, your boss, your struggles, your failures, and then you expect a woman to still look at you with admiration. Wake up. She doesn't want to hear about how powerless you feel. She wants to see how powerful you can be in the face of challenges. A woman respects a man who takes action, not a man who cries about his position. Even if you hate your job, even if life is tough, you never present yourself as defeated. You present yourself as someone who is fighting, someone who refuses to settle, someone who is determined to rise. That energy is what keeps her trust and attraction alive. Stop selling yourself short with your words. When you tell a woman you feel powerless, what you're really saying is, I'm not in control, I'm not capable, and I'm not worth following. Do you think she'll look at you the same way after that? She won't. She'll start testing you more, doubting you more, and eventually pulling away. Gentlemen, the world doesn't respect powerless men, and neither do women. Even if you're struggling, carry yourself with authority. Speak like a man who has options, a man who's moving forward, a man who refuses to be broken. Because once she sees you as powerless, she'll never see you as her leader again. 6. Never tell her. She's all you have. Men, let me be brutally honest. Telling a woman she's all you have is not romantic. It's pathetic. You might think you're being sweet, you might think it shows love, but in reality, it screams desperation. The moment you put her on that pedestal, you lose her respect. Women don't admire men who orbit around them like they're the center of the universe. They admire men who have a purpose, a mission, and a life that extends far beyond a relationship. When you tell her she's all you have, you're basically saying, without you, I'm nothing. And do you know what that translates to in her mind? Weakness. Here's the truth most men don't want to hear. The more you make a woman your entire world, the faster she loses interest. Women want to feel chosen, yes, but they don't want to feel like your only source of happiness, purpose, or identity. That kind of pressure doesn't make her feel secure, it makes her feel trapped. Gentlemen, wake up. Your life cannot revolve around a woman. If it does, you've already lost the game. You need goals, ambitions, friends, hobbies, discipline, things that give your life meaning outside of her. Because here's the harsh reality. If she leaves tomorrow and you truly have nothing else, you'll fall apart. And no woman wants to carry that kind of responsibility on her shoulders. Stop selling this "you're my everything" fantasy. It doesn't impress her. It drains her attraction. She respects the man who says, I want you in my life, not the man who says, without you, I have no life. One is confident choice, the other is emotional slavery. A strong man shares his world with a woman. He doesn't hand it over and beg her to be his world. If you want her respect, keep your independence, your mission, and your backbone. Never forget, she should be part of your life, not the reason you're alive. 7. Never share every past mistake. You regret men often think that confessing every mistake from their past will make a woman trust them more. They believe full honesty equals deeper connection. But the truth is, dumping every regret, every bad decision, and every failure onto her only lowers the way she sees you. Think about it. When you tell her every poor choice you've made, you paint yourself as careless, weak, or unstable. Even if she says, it's okay, I accept you, those stories stick in her mind. They become quiet reminders that you are capable of messing up in serious ways. Over time, that damages her confidence in you. Men, here's where you need to wake up. A woman doesn't need to know every wrong step you've ever taken. She doesn't want to picture the drunk nights, the failed friendships, the times you were betrayed or humiliated. Why? Because once you bring it up, she can't forget it. It lingers in her thoughts, and it chips away at her image of you as strong and reliable. Too many men use women like priests in a confession box, thinking unloading their sins will bring them relief. But relationships aren't built on unloading. They're built on strength. Yes, you should learn from your mistakes, but you don't have to showcase them like trophies of failure. And let me criticize men here. Stop looking for pity. Telling a woman every mistake is not humility, it's weakness. You're asking her to see you as broken and hope she still loves you. That's not leadership, that's begging. A real man acknowledges his past privately, fixes himself, and moves forward stronger. He doesn't drag a woman through every detail of his regrets. She doesn't need your history. She needs your present strength and your future direction. Remember this: women are attracted to men who rise above mistakes, not men who live inside them. Keep your lessons, keep your scars, but don't hand over your regrets like a resume of failure. Let your growth show through your actions, not your confessions. 8. Never expose your jealousy or competition with other men. One of the quickest ways to lose a woman's respect is to openly show jealousy or admit you're competing with other men for her attention. The moment you do this, you hand over your power. You position yourself as insecure, as if other men are a real threat to you. And trust me, once she senses that, her attraction begins to fade. Men need to understand something important. Women naturally attract attention from other men. That's life. But if you spend your energy questioning her, checking her phone, or complaining about who's looking at her, you don't look strong. You look scared. And nothing destroys attraction faster than fear and insecurity. Here's where I have to criticize men. Too many of you reveal your jealousy like it's a sign of love. You think saying, "I can't stand the thought of you talking to other guys," makes her feel valued. Wrong. It makes you look weak, possessive, and out of control. It tells her you don't trust yourself to stand above the competition. Wake up. A woman doesn't want a man who's threatened. She wants a man who knows he's the prize. Real strength is silence and certainty. If another man flirts with her, you don't panic, you don't beg, you don't show insecurity, you stay calm. Because deep down, you know that you're the standard she compares everyone else to. That quiet confidence is what keeps her respect. When you reveal jealousy, you're saying, "I feel small next to other men." But when you carry yourself with composure, you show her, "I don't compete, I lead." And that difference is everything. Gentlemen, never let a woman see you sweat over another man. The second you do, she'll test you harder, doubt you more, and push the limits just to see how far your weakness goes. Stay grounded, stay confident, and never hand her the image of a man who feels threatened. Because the moment you reveal jealousy, you've already lost the battle. 9. Never admit you've been rejected. Too many times. Every man has faced rejection. It's part of life. But here's the mistake that kills attraction instantly: admitting to a woman that you've been turned down over and over again. The moment you say, "Yeah, I've been rejected a lot," you stamp yourself with a label that's hard to shake: unwanted. Think about it. A woman hears that other women have rejected you repeatedly, and her mind instantly starts asking questions. Why didn't they want him? What's wrong with him? Did they see something I haven't noticed yet? Suddenly, instead of focusing on your strengths, she's scanning you for weaknesses. And once she starts looking for flaws, she will find them. Here's the criticism men need to hear. Too many of you wear rejection like a badge of honor. You think telling her about all your failures makes you real or relatable. It doesn't. It makes you look like a man who has never been chosen, never been valued, never been desired. And if other women didn't want you, why should she? Wake up. Attraction is contagious. If others wanted you, she will too. If no one wanted you, she'll question why she should bother. You don't need to brag about endless conquests, but you also don't need to expose yourself as a man who's constantly overlooked. Your value is not proven by how many times you've been rejected. It's proven by how you carry yourself, by the confidence you project, and by the way you build your life. When you talk about rejection, you shift her focus to your failures. When you stay silent about it, you control the frame. You remain a mystery. And mystery is always more attractive than a sad confession. Gentlemen, stop oversharing. Stop looking for pity or validation by revealing how many times women have turned you down. She doesn't need to know, and she shouldn't know. What she needs to see is a man who holds himself like he's worth choosing, whether or not others saw it before. Never forget, rejection is private. Growth is visible. 10. Never reveal how much you actually need. Her men, listen carefully. Telling a woman how much you need her is one of the fastest ways to lose her respect. You may think it's romantic, you may think it shows deep love, but in reality, it shows weakness. Women don't fall in love with men who depend on them to survive. They fall in love with men who choose them even though they don't need them. The second you admit, I can't live without you, I need you in my life, you give her all the power. You place her above yourself and she no longer sees you as the leader, the rock, the man in control. Instead, she sees you as emotionally dependent, and dependency is not attractive, it's suffocating. Here's the criticism men need to hear. Too many of you confuse love with neediness. You think clinging to her, telling her she's the air you breathe, will make her stay. Wake up, it won't. It will make her feel trapped, pressured, and eventually disgusted. No woman wants to feel like your lifeline. She wants to feel like your partner. When you reveal how much you need her, you're basically saying, I'm not complete without you. But a real man doesn't operate from lack. He operates from abundance. He has his mission, his purpose, his goals. He invites her into his world, but he doesn't hand her the responsibility of being his world. Here's the truth. The less you need her, the more she wants you. The more you cling to her, the faster she slips away. A woman stays attracted to a man who chooses her freely, not a man who depends on her desperately. Gentlemen, never confuse desire with need. Want her, appreciate her, enjoy her, but don't ever tell her she's the reason you exist. Because the moment she feels you need her more than she needs you, the dynamic shifts and attraction dies. Conclusion. Gentlemen, here's the hard truth most people will never dare say. The more a woman knows about your weaknesses, the less she respects you. Society tells men to open up, be vulnerable, and share everything. But let's be real. When you actually do that, attraction dies. A woman does not want to carry your brokenness, your fears, and your insecurities. She wants to follow a man who is strong enough to carry himself. That's why the smartest men know when to stay silent. And here's the controversial statement. A man who overshares is not being honest. He's being selfish. Because deep down, he's not looking to build connection. He's looking for validation. And the moment you beg a woman to validate you, you lose her respect forever. So if you've ever wondered why a woman suddenly looked at you differently after you opened up, now you know. You gave her a version of yourself she could not admire. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever revealed too much and felt her pull away? Or maybe you stayed mysterious and noticed her attraction grow? Drop your experiences in the comments. I'll be checking them out and even reaching out to some of you personally. Let's build this conversation together, man to man.